the warm-up. We're gonna start with some kneeling T-spine rotations. So getting down onto both knees, getting into a tabletop position. One arm's gonna be nice and straight on the ground. The other elbow's gonna be bent behind the ear. We're gonna reach to the ceiling as far as we can. Coming in, reaching to that straight arm, and then pushing the floor away to reach all the way to the sky. We're gonna do 3 to 5 reps on each side, and then switching from there. From the rotations, we're gonna come into a beautiful hip flexor stretch. So since we're on both knees, we're gonna bring one leg forward. We're gonna tuck that back glute in, and we're gonna shift forward into that hip. You wanna make sure that your pelvis is tucked forward and the front knee is pushing out just a little so it's not caving in. Couple presses on each side, sinking into that hip. Feel that nice stretch in the hip flexor, and then alternating 5 on each side. Once you're good with your hip flexor stretches, we're gonna turn it into a spider stretch. So in a nice plank or tabletop position, one leg is gonna come all the way forward towards the wrist, and we're gonna squeeze the back glute, push the front knee out to feel a nice stretch. Bringing it back, switching them out, and bringing that foot all the way up. If you need to, your back knee can drop on the floor if it's too much for those arms and hips. And if you're feeling good, you can always add a little twist to each. So the same arm is gonna reach. Good. From here, we're gonna go to a downward dog. So in a nice big plank, we're gonna push the floor away. We're gonna reach to the ceiling, and we're gonna come forward into a pigeon stretch. So you're gonna rotate your leg, knee goes to that same elbow, and feel a nice stretch in the back glute. Once you feel good, you're gonna put the hands back down. We're gonna push the floor away, and we have that big downward dog. Reaching the pelvis up towards the ceiling, and then folding the leg as we come in, feeling that nice glute stretch as we go. We're going to some quad rocks for the warm-up. So we have options of doing it on 2 legs or 1 leg. If we're going 2 legs, knees are gonna be a little wider than hip width apart. Feet are gonna be nice and comfortable in the back. From here, hands are below the shoulders. We're gonna push the floor away into almost a child's pose position, sinking the hips back, and then rocking forward, coming right over those shoulders, and then a big sink as we push the floor away and sink it back. If these don't feel too good on your legs, we can do a single leg quad rock. So one knee is gonna be bent, the other leg is gonna be out to the side, toes facing forward and staying on the ground. From here, we're gonna rock forward and back. So pushing the hands, lean and back. You wanna feel that stretch on the inside of the thigh and on the quad that's down. After the quad rocks, we're gonna come up to a standing position for a deep squat and hamstring stretch. Feet are gonna be hip width or a little wider. From here, we're gonna place our hands on the ground for a nice hamstring stretch. Feel the back of the legs. And then we're gonna drop the glutes down, knees push out to a nice deep squat. A little wiggle at the bottom if you feel good. Hands hit the ground, and a big stretch as you come up top. Little wiggle to feel those hips, and then dropping the glutes, pushing the knees apart. Same thing, around 5 reps for these to make sure everything is nice and loose. Once we're done with the hamstring stretch, we're gonna go to some nice lateral lunges. So we're gonna step it out nice and wide. Feet are gonna stay there, and we're gonna sink back to that glute, feel a big stretch in the inner thighs, and then sink it back and feel a big stretch. Some people like to reach the opposite hand down. It's up to you, or we can keep hands in the middle, whatever kind of feels better. Last but not least, we're gonna do some banded arm circles. So you can either do it with a band, or you can just do a big arm circle without one. We're gonna grab the band where it feels good, nice and wide, swoop it all the way around, passing that sticky spot in the shoulders, and then coming back forward for that big stretch in the arm and chest. Making sure you're taking deep breaths, passing that sticky spot in the back, and then pulling it all the way forward. Now everything is nice and warmed up for your killer workout.